Hello everyone and welcome to the Brite Computers webinar. Today we have two topics in one webinar, tablet computing platform options and how to secure them. Let's get started. Our speakers today are Trevor Smith, VP of Sales for Brite Computers, and Melissa Killebrew, Sales Engineer for McAfee Incorporated. And with that, Trevor, the audience is yours.
Good morning. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate everyone coming to attend this morning. We've got a great agenda that we've put together for you. We're just going to start off with a couple of market observations, a little bit about the tablet environment. Then we do a quick introduction to three tablets that we've been offering, give you an introduction to some of their specifications and some of their unique features. And then we'll turn it over to McAfee to talk about securing these devices. Look forward to presenting this information for you, and look forward to having engaging in conversations after the presentation as necessary. So just a quick introduction to Brite Computers. We've been in business since 1983. We're headquartered in Rochester, New York, and we have 4 regional offices throughout the U.S. We have 3 areas of service offerings. Our computing infrastructure, which is really historically where Brite Computers came from. These are physical desktop, laptops, and servers that we build as well as resell. And also, over the last few years, been building out a virtualization practice with our partners such as VMware and Citrix. In addition to that, we have specialty equipment for various industries like public safety, healthcare, etc. On the other side, which second part of our presentation today, is our security offerings. And those relate to mobile devices as well as the network, and really trying to help ensure our customers' data is protected. And the last area is our services, and those services are supporting the products either in the pre-sales assessment to determine how these will fit within your environment, as well as the evaluation, deployment, and ongoing support around those products and services. So just to give a little bit of a start off with where we are today within this market. As we know, iPad has really changed the way people look at tablet computing and the ability for us to now use these mobile devices. The growth has been exponential. IDC just released some reports on Q2 numbers that showed a 90% growth over the previous quarter. And that was over 300% growth year over year. It was about 9 million units that shipped in Q2. With that, those existing units and all the growth that's expected to continue throughout 2011, they're estimating that between 50 and 60 million units will be bought and deployed in 2011 alone. Now we know that Apple and iPad and iPhone and iTouch have really been strong players within the market. But as you look at it, Android is even a stronger player within the smartphone environment. We look at a couple of stats which are shown within this graph here, and we see that that Google and Android still own the market as far as smartphones, and they're continuing to grow even faster than the iPhones. In June, the Vice President for Engineering at Google said that he tweeted out that they were activating over 500,000 Android devices a day, and that growth was over 4%. With those numbers, they're activating over 1 million devices a day now as we enter into November. So it's exponential growth within the Android marketplace, which is building up a loyal customer base and a real need for those products within the market. And another component to this growth is cloud computing. We talk about cloud computing. It's everywhere. There's lots of different interpretations of cloud and how it can be used. But as it relates to tablet computing, cloud enables us to start using these mobile devices without having to store excess amounts of information on those devices, without having those devices be powered to a level to be able to run every single application on that device. And it really allows us now to have this smaller, mobile, lighter device that could serve up the applications and the data that we need anytime, anywhere, on any device. And so there's a lot of expectations on the tablet PC and where it's going to take us, not just today, but also throughout the marketplace, or throughout the years to come. When we look at how tablets are being used compared to the traditional PC, when the iPad first came out, everyone said it would kill the traditional PC. And what's been seen is now it's not necessarily killing the sale of traditional PCs, but more so complementing. People are using them in a lot of the same manner as traditional PCs. If you look at it, maybe they're doing a little bit more browsing on the tablet PC in this first line. because maybe iOS doesn't support Flash. You'll see a little bit more of the e-reading on tablets, is where you look at Kindles or you look at the form factor of a tablet. But as you get down towards the bottom of this, you look at content creation, and you see that it's still dominated by the traditional PC. And that is an area where the tablets will continue to catch up. And as we're talking to our customers about how are you going to use these tablets in your enterprise in a productive manner that enable you to create the content and do things you need to do on a daily basis, and in specific in work that you need to do. So as you speak with customers, you find that there's two sides of the discussion. You have the end users who want to use the devices, and IT who's supposed to support and deploy these. For the end users, as if you're an end user of a tablet, one of the reasons you want to use it is that it enables you to stay connected, both to your colleagues, to your friends, to the community that you want to be connected to. It allows you with instant on and quick access to information. It allows you to take advantage of quick downtime, whether it's on a train or in a car or in a cab or just in between meetings. With the capabilities to edit information and edit documents as you receive documents from customers or colleagues, you make quick edits to those, package those up, and then send them back for additional follow-through with them. And as we know that strong, rich media which can be played on these tablets that allow us to get the information that we need more than just reading Word and other types of documents. And then the last component is, people really need to start using these for a productive manner. How can we use them for different types of applications that give productivity? When we look at the IT side of things, the demand is really generated around deploying and managing these devices, ensuring that the data on them is secure, and being able to customize this to meet the needs of the organization. And we'll talk about that a little bit when McAfee presents. When we look at adoption, Lenovo commissioned a report that was released, and there's a link at the bottom of the page. But it talks about how these tablets are being adopted. 47% were looking for it for Salesforce automation. It's pretty logical. The product is very mobile. It can be out and about. It can give you quick access to information, easily be able to research details and provide that out. A lot of Salesforce automation tools are now web-based. In this study, they found out that about 30% of IT shops were already piloting or existing devices or planning to pilot custom applications and ways to utilize these devices within their organization. And an interesting stat was that over 70% of SMB are already using tablets in their workforce. Typically, that's a bring-your-own-computer type device, but they have the flexibility to kind of get around some of the enterprise-level security requirements that are out there. And the last stat was an ROI stat, which was that field techs were seeing an increase in productivity of greater than 28%. So real positive stuff, a lot of action and activity going on around the adoption of the tablets.
All right, thank you, Trevor. And now that does bring us to our first polling question of the day. And as you see that populate on your screen, please take a few moments to select your answers, and we will share those results with you shortly. Okay, then we'll go ahead and close that poll and share our results. And those results show that 9% say we do not allow any tablets, 32% say individuals use personally purchased tablets, 41% small teams are piloting tablet use, 18% we have deployed tablets to specific groups, and there are currently no one that provides tablets to every employee. We'll go ahead and hide those results and send them back to you, Trevor.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Matt. So now we get on to the next component of this, introduce you to 3 tablets. The first from Lenovo, the ThinkPad, which is an Android-based device, Fujitsu, which is a Q550, a Windows-based device, and Panasonic's ToughPad, the A1, which was just released on Monday, which is a rugged Android device. On this slide, what we've done is, and over the course of the next couple of slides, is give you a quick summary of these devices. Here is some of the technical specifications. When you look at these tablets, they're all very similar in size. Roughly the same size, with the ToughPad being just a little bit heavier as it has some rugged elements to it. The screen size are all 10.1-inch screens, Lenovo has a Gorilla Glass display, where the Fujitsu and the Panasonic both have outdoor readable Brite displays with anti-glare coating on those displays. Within the ports, you have options for USB on all of these devices. With industry components of the ThinkPad is that the USB is 2.0 and it supports a lot of different peripherals, keyboards, mice, and other peripherals that you would want to be able to use with the tablet. And of course, Fujitsu being a Windows-based tablet also allows for this nice use of USBs, including it being a bootable USB. Fujitsu also adds a smart card reader onto their device. Each of them provide Wi-Fi, with both Android devices being able to be a Wi-Fi hotspot to emit their cellular signal for additional devices to be able to connect to that. And Panasonic also adds satellite-based GPS versus just using the cellular GPS that's available on them. All of them have front and rear-facing cameras, with the Lenovo and the Panasonic with a little bit higher resolution than the Fujitsu camera, but both for taking pictures of environments around you, as well as Skype and other types of video conferencing. They all support multi-touch and a stylus, and the stylus being extremely important because now with these tablets we want to be able to take notes, interact with the system, not just with your finger, but also with a pen, and making it much more productive in a true note-taking and tablet environment. Battery life is pretty similar in that we provide 8 to 10 hours with each of these different devices. And the Fujitsu and the Panasonic take an approach of providing a swappable battery. The Fujitsu can be hot swapped while in the field, whereas the Panasonic has just a couple screws so that it would be done more in a battery replacement option versus hot swappable in the field. The processors vary among the different tablets, and the operating systems are either Android or Windows, with Panasonic being on brand new Android 3.2 Honeycomb operating system. So just getting into each of the tablets a little bit more in detail, with Lenovo, they've added a very nice element to their tablet, which is Corning's Gorilla Glass, which provides extremely rugged screen for both physical impact as well as everyday scratches and damage. It also provides very accurate touch included within that Corning Gorilla Glass. There's a couple key components to the ThinkPad that make it one of the leading enterprise Android devices in the marketplace. And Lenovo took a slightly different approach to their ThinkPad in that they really targeted the enterprise. They do have their IdeaPads, which are targeted towards the consumers, and those can meet the the needs of you want to use it as a personal device. But they also, when they brought this to market, looked at how can we make this more enterprise ready. And there's a couple quick features here, which are zero touch deployment. And what this provides is the ability to not have to physically touch the tablet during provisioning. So you can ship the device to the user and do over-the-air provisioning of the corporate policies and the corporate settings, which is a really nice feature, especially if you're doing large deployments or even a replacement deployment for a device from someone who's not geographically located where you are. Then there's password integration with Active Directory, which now you can add password complexity that matches your corporate standards, as well as make it the same password that the user uses for their AD credentials. So now they don't have another password to remember, and you don't have to deal with additional password issues, password reset issues. You have active sync support within, for Microsoft to manage multiple devices. You also have an XML capability to configure these devices, so it doesn't really require a robust back-end server to provide that support. You can do it through XML configurations. Mentioned the stylus and the multi-touch before. It's important to allow us to use these in different manners. And then we have a corporate app store, which these are applications in addition to the Android market that Lenovo has looked at and certified to work on their device and optimized work on their device. You also have the ability to custom image these tablets with designated proprietary and third-party applications. You can also set the wireless power and setting in the profiles, and even the desktop themes and home pages, and things that you would typically do within a normal PC environment. So those enhancements are things that Lenovo and Lenovo has brought out with their ThinkPad. Another nice little quick feature is an accessory, and this is a tablet keyboard folio. And with this, you're dropping the ThinkPad into a carrying case, which has a USB that connects into the tablet, and now it's acting as a full laptop. You have the track pointer that some people love, including myself, and you also have mouse buttons, so that you can really start to use this tablet as a full full laptop. And it's optimized for using the Android with shortcut keys and others. It's a very sleek, nice, light device, and there's a couple images of it. Moving on to the Fujitsu. Fujitsu has been providing tablet computers for over 20 years. This is not a new business for them, and them optimizing the Windows environment for tablet computing is something they've been doing for a very, very long period of time. So when they decided to bring out the Q550, designing that product was something they've been doing for a long time, and a lot of experience has gone into what will make this the best experience possible. It's using Windows 7 today, and you have the opportunity to use the operating system that your users are extremely used to, as well as your applications will be compatible with, which can help reduce help desk calls and user ramp-up times. With that being said, when you look at security, we're going to talk about security in the second half of this presentation, but as we look at the Windows environment, we can apply our existing security policies, existing security tools towards these devices that are going to be in the field, whether it be full-disk encryption, antivirus, port protection, etc. Fujitsu adds some extremely nice, intuitive enhancements to the product in both software program launchers, which can give you quick access to applications and shortcuts and frequently used functions. And they've also put physical buttons on the device, which will show on the next screen, which provide additional quick access to those applications. As I mentioned, it has a quick swap battery for all-day computing. This allows, there's actually a utility that you can use to swap out the battery, and it puts the system in a standby mode for a brief period of time as you pull out the battery and put in a new battery. There's two different battery options. There's a 4-cell and a 2-cell battery, the 2-cell being just a touch lighter. We have a dedicated smart card reader for those users who have implemented that type of security within their organization. And then it's been designed with a nice rubber coating on the back of it. It can be combined with a hand strap to give it good ergonomics as far as holding onto the device. The outdoor readable screen is very similar to the outdoor readable screens on other Fujitsu tablets, which have proven to be very good in outdoor use. It's about 400 nits, and it has anti-glare coating on it that allow you to see it from when you're outdoors. We have USB ports which behave like standard Windows USB ports. And here's a quick picture of some of the physical buttons on the device. Physical buttons that allow you to power the device on, and then use these applications to launch up the keyboard if necessary, to rotate the device, and then do a Control-Alt-Delete if you need to do that to get to Task Manager or lock the device. Also, staying with Windows security, we have a wireless device switch where you can turn the wireless on and off without having to go to a menu button. Each of these keys, when in the BIOS mode, allow you to navigate throughout the BIOS. So very well thought out design and a very nice Windows tablet device. In addition, because Fujitsu has a very strong ecosystem around their tablet computing, they also have a plethora of accessories like keyboards, various carrying cases, a nice docking cradle for office use, screen protectors, here's a hand strap that makes it a little bit easier to carry around if you're using it in a mobile workforce type environment. So now moving on to the Panasonic ToughPad. So this product is very exciting. It was just released on Monday. So there's a lot of additional components to it that are still coming out, such as partners that are building accessories and other things to it. It's running Android 3.2 OS, the new Honeycomb OS. And Panasonic is doing what they traditionally do, which is build a very rugged, reliable computer for the mobile workforce. They brought the computer, or brought the tablet out as a mil-spec 810G, an IP65, which is for ensuring that it's sealed for all weather and the different elements that you may run into. It's a magnesium alloy chassis, which makes it a little bit heavier. It's just at 2 pounds versus the others are under 2 pounds. It has port covers for all of its ports so that it doesn't get dust and those different ports don't break. And within that mil-spec standard, it meets the needs for the 4-foot drop test, which is standard within the Panasonic rugged environment. With Panasonic, we have a nice outdoor readable screen. It's 500 nit, a bright display with also an anti-glare, anti-reflective coating on that display, which makes it even better to be able to read in the daylight. In addition, they add an ambient light sensor onto it, which helps save battery life. So at night, it'll make the screen a little bit dimmer, and during the real bright light, when necessary, it'll make the screen even brighter. It will be 4G wireless when it's shipping, and also providing the GPS through satellite, a true GPS within the device versus just triangulating the GPS position through the cellular carriers. One neat enhancement that Panasonic added to their ToughPad is the FIPS 140-2 compliance. And that's with all the enhanced security components turned on, which we can talk about at another time. In addition, Panasonic, similar to Lenovo and similar to the Windows environment with Fujitsu, are building business partnerships with organizations for business-ready applications for the enterprise, for government, for various industries that require a rugged tablet. Here's a quick look at the ToughPad. You have your cameras, your front-facing camera up here. You have your navigation buttons down here. You have rubber on the edges to protect against the drops and damage that may occur to it. On the back side, you have port covers for your HDMI, for your audio, your SD card, and also your USB. You have your rear-facing camera here. With the batteries, you have these screws that hold the battery in, which are easily taken out by technicians to replace that battery, but not something that a user would do on a daily basis. And then you also have ports for power and turn the wireless on and off, and a storage for the stylus. So in summary, these are 3 different enterprise tablet alternatives to the Apple iPad that's out there. I know that's a quick summary, something we want to introduce you to these different tablets, have the opportunity to discuss with you where they may fit within your business, and then get an opportunity to get your hands on it to see if you like the form factor, if the applications that you're running will meet the operating systems and are supported by these applications or these devices. And when we look at it, we look at the Lenovo as an enterprise Android device. The Fujitsu is perfect for the Windows environment, for your existing applications, and Panasonic when it's really necessary to have a rugged device. So that brings us to our next polling question, and we'll flip it over to Melissa after that.
Thank you, Trevor, and that does bring us to our second polling question of the day. And again, as you see that populate on your screen, please take a few moments to select your answer, and we will share the results with you shortly. All right, then we'll go ahead and close that poll and share our results. And if you could secure data on tablets and manage those devices, would you adopt a tablet strategy? 58% say yes, 5% say no, and 37% are on the fence.
Great. Well, we appreciate those results, and now we can talk a little bit about how we can secure these different devices and hopefully make that something that's interesting to you.
So great job, Trevor. Today I think, in addition to what Trevor was talking about, it really comes down to securing these mobile devices and really what that means inside an organization. And we categorize that really with the heading consumerization of IT. And it, for us, falls into 3 categories here at McAfee. One would be, of course, your mobile devices, some of them that we talked about today, the Android devices, the Windows devices. Then you actually could go in and talk about laptops and even the virtual environments that were mentioned. But some of the big trends that we see, and I think this poses a look as well with the answers to some of the survey questions is, you know, what does that mean inside an organization? You know, are we allowing employee-owned devices into our corporate network? Are we going to be issuing or piloting separate devices? That's really the heading that we fall under when we talk about consumerization of IT. The other one, of course, is device diversity. You know, whether those be the Apple devices we've become accustomed to or the Android tablets and Windows devices that were discussed today. And then beyond that, the second or third thing we see is really, you know, looking at these devices as not only a mechanism to get email and web, but also the applications that are available for each of these devices. And when we break those down into requirements here at McAfee, it really falls down into a couple of different mechanisms. One is, you know, how am I going to protect those mobile devices? What we see at McAfee is there's often a disconnect between the IT policies and users that exist. You know, and when we look at how that's going to happen, it comes down into how am I going to protect the data as well. One of the things we notice is that inside the arena of malware, we discover about 60,000 pieces each day. So when we look at mobile devices, it really is just a new frontier for these devices to become infected. And the final thing when we talk about IT is consumerization of IT is really what do we do to protect the applications that exist on these devices. And we've actually broken this down into an integration and development plan that will really give you an idea of not only how to protect them, but what we can do to offer that. One of the things that we know is that when we look at protecting mobile devices is that mobile device management is, you know, no longer enough. We have to be able to go in and protect the whole device, whether that be through, you know, your anti-malware protection or web protection, especially with some of the openness of the platforms that we discussed today and some of the built-in browser functionality that exists. Then when we look at protecting the mobile device, you know, what are we going to do to protect the data that exists? You know, while built-in encryption sometimes is enough for organizations, how are we going to even extend that to be able to protect the data from encryption components, how it's going to be communicated from the devices itself, and make sure that there's no poor user experience, especially with some of the email clients that have already been built into the devices. One of the things that we're doing here at McAfee is developing a container approach that not only secures the device, but also what exists on the device. We've discovered that when you look at a device that supports data at rest encryption, such as the iOS devices, and moving into some of the platforms that don't necessarily have that data at rest encryption component, being able to protect that device if it's lost or stolen, and also protect the device is paramount inside organizations. And finally is applications. I think that was one of the things we discussed that Trevor brought up at the end of his presentation is, you know, the amount of applications that are available for the Windows devices. One of the things that we offer through the solution that we're going to be talking about today, the Enterprise Mobility Management solution, is going in and having an enterprise app store secure method to be able to deliver those applications to devices. Then also being able to look at the behavior of those devices through what we call McAfee Secure, being able to see what type of information those applications are going to be looking for. Is it asking for access to your SMS messages or to your device itself? Being able to look at all the behavior that exists. And then, of course, being able to go in and see what it looks like from a heuristic standpoint. Now, the solution that we talk about here at McAfee, the Enterprise Mobility Management solution, really allows you to be able to bring all those devices that we've mentioned, whether it's your Android devices, your Windows mobile devices, even iPads, iPhones, Blackberries, iPods, and allows them to be able to connect to your enterprise environment, whether it be from messaging applications, files, and enforce security settings across that device. One of the things that we like to look at is, like I said, the whole device. So you're not just providing email to the device itself. You're going in and enforcing compliance to all the policies, whether that be your VPN policies, Wi-Fi settings, line of business applications. So you have the ability to be able to look at that device, be able to enforce and manage those native security settings against all those devices itself. Now, the other thing that we offer with this particular product is that it's very easy to manage. It works well inside your environment that already exists. You're able to bring it into our ePolicy Orchestrator, which is the management platform for all the products here at McAfee, not just mobile device management. And you're able to have these devices personalized for user productivity, which means this: the end user themselves actually has the responsibility of bringing that device into management through a couple of very, very simple steps. And once those steps have been configured on the device, it actually makes the device managed. It brings it into the management server. It reports back into it. You're able to, at that point, perform, remote desktop functions, be able to see things that are on that device, actually be able to enforce compliance to that particular device, making sure that it's going to be meeting those security elements that we discussed, and finally making sure that this solution is a very scalable solution. So scalability is a huge factor when it comes to enterprise environments. So we want to make sure that we can scale up to the thousands of devices, as well as be able to support high availability and disaster recovery options. Now, when we talk about bringing devices in under management, the first thing for us is a word that we call provisioning. That's really what starts the life cycle of the device. It's a one-time process that the end user would actually go in and make. It's actually what that makes that device known to the management server. It's going to associate that device with the user, leveraging your directory groups. It's going to apply policies and configurations for that particular user. Now, because we discussed really what it looks like for the Android tablets today, here are the simple steps that actually bring that Android device in. You would actually go out to the marketplace and download a free McAfee agent. The second step is going in and placing email credentials and passwords. These are your network credentials that already exist. Very simple process to be able to bring in the device into an authorized user list, whether you're wanting to allow anybody that's a part of a particular membership group or a particular domain, or actually even doing one-time provisioning with tokens. Once that second step has been done, it actually goes in and configures that device for you, looking at a couple of things. One is making sure that the user will actually agree to a corporate policy, and this is how that device is going to be leveraged. Make sure that that device supports the necessary security requirements. Has that device been either jailbroken or rooted based on bring that device in under management. This is the final step that says, I'm going to go in and apply this device with all the email configurations, security policies, maybe those are password requirements, restrictions that you want to place on the device, applications that need to be presented, VPN, Wi-Fi settings. Being able to bring those devices under management makes that very, very available. A part of that process as well is going in and making sure that we apply an SSL certificate to that device. We do that for a couple of reasons. One is to make sure that that device can maintain compliance based on the policies that you have existing. The other part is making sure it authenticates to your network. So we're going to make sure that compliance, security, and authentication are very, very important inside your organization. Now, with that process of applying policies, this is where policies get pushed down to that device. Inside that policy could maintain things like, what are the password criteria? If somebody places in a password wrong a number of times, what are the failure actions? Do you require or restrict certain functionalities, maybe the ability to use a camera on that device? So having that ability to be able to send that policy to the device over the air is really, really huge inside being able to protect these devices. The other part under policy management is making sure that when the device has been brought under management, if for some reason it doesn't adhere to the policies or if someone loses their device, that you have the ability to remove the corporate data that exists on that device. We do that a couple of different ways. One is through what we call a selective wipe, where you could go in and just remove the corporate information, leaving personal photos intact. The other one is actually going in and doing a full data wipe, where you would actually take that device back to its off-the-shelf state, where the user themselves would either have to go back in through iTunes or Google to re-provision their device to be able to be managed again. Now, because we're talking about security enforcements, we all know that compliance is huge and paramount to any size organization. So this is where we have a couple of compliance checks that we do for these mobile devices. One is we do a pre-check that says, I want to verify this device supports maybe data at rest encryption, or has it been rooted or jailbroken, making sure that the user themselves are on that supported or authorized user list. Then if those things have been checked, the second time we do a compliance check is based on a time interval that says, I'm going to go in and make sure that the latest policies configurations are always up to date. If for some reason that device falls out of compliance, whether you've changed the policy from something simple as a 4-digit password now requiring that device to have a 5-digit password, if that device is not adhered to that new policy, you could actually block them access to your management server. So it really gives you a lot of functionality to be able to make sure that these devices are compliant with the policies that you have in place. Support and operation is a very, very simple process. It's leveraged through a web browser. You can also use role-based administration using the existing groups that you already have existing, so you're not having to go in and recreate groups to be able to support or manage the mobile devices that you have inside your organization. And the final thing, when we talk about really the life cycle of the device, once that device has been provisioned, we make sure that security and authentication processes are going to be in place, that devices are adhering to policies and configurations that are intact. We make sure that support and operation is going to be managed very simply and easy. The last thing that really completes the life cycle of a device is the applications that are made available to it. We have the functionality through an enterprise application store to be able to deliver applications to the device in a secure role-based way, whether that be links to third-party software, links that exist out inside the marketplace or the app store, maybe web clips. We are able to recommend those to the user, being able to report back to see if those applications have been installed, giving you full visibility into the devices themselves. So that really gives you the ability to be able to have full visibility of not only the device itself from a management aspect, but also being able to leverage applications that are delivered. One of the applications that we have offered for the Enterprise Mobility Management solution that actually is a part of this particular product is a virus scan for Android solution. It's a very, very small software that we place inside that enterprise management solution. It actually goes in, runs on the device very silently. It doesn't take away any functions of the device. You're still able to make your phone calls, do your data access, web surfing, but it does go in and protect those particular devices from either viruses, worms, trojans that exist on the device. You have the same functionality that you would leverage inside any virus protection, that it gives you the ability to go in and do your on-demand scans, your scheduled scans, and if any reason a piece of malware is triggered on that device, it'll actually give you that alert telling you what actions were taken, being able to show you what the infections were, being able to look at the device and make sure that everything is going to exist inside your policies. Then you have the flexibility of being able to make sure that that device is being protected from a security aspect, from a virus protection standpoint, and also having the ability to make sure that those devices are going to be adhering to the policies that you have in place. This is one of the things that we talked about by leveraging the Enterprise App Store. This is one of the things that you could actually go in and create that recommended application for that user, make sure that they download it. So if you wanted to give that application to those employees that have that Android platform, you could actually tell them to go in, download this application. If for some reason that user does not, you could actually fall back to that life cycle that we just discussed that would put that device out of compliance, so they would no longer have access until it was actually installed on the device itself. Another huge security part of the product itself is being able to integrate with the certificate authority. We actually integrate with the Microsoft Certificate Authority so that every device being provisioned will have a unique certificate, being able to leverage your VPN and your Wi-Fi connections. No other competitor actually has that type of PKI support. Most competitors out there are using a SCEP protocol, which is really not leveraging strong authentication. It's more of a one-factor authentication, but by leveraging a PKI environment, we're actually able to offer that two-factor authentication for VPN and Wi-Fi capabilities. Like I said, it is integrated with your Microsoft CA, and you have the ability to really just go in and support those configurations that you already have existing inside your environment. Now, what brings it all together for us is that management console. This is where we talk about our ePolicy orchestrator. We've actually brought in the mobile device management into our EPO through phase 1 of our integration plan. This is where not only we have the mobile devices that are being managed, whether it be your Android or Windows mobile devices, but also other endpoints in your security infrastructure. We're able to pull that data into a central management console, and I'll actually show you that live here in just a second. So for customers that already have EPO, it's just the ability to be able to bring that one-stop management console into place where you have centralized visibility and control over those mobile devices. We have the ability to report on policy violations. An example is if for some reason a virus scan solution was not installed, you could actually bring that device in under management, being able to report that and being able to take action through your ePolicy orchestrator. Now we pull all the solutions together through a server approach. It's a very simple way to be able to bring those devices into a management solution. We usually take a two-server approach. The reason for that is you'll notice in the slide that there's a proxy server that actually resides out in the DMZ. That is a server that's supported on 2003 or 2008 OS, be in a virtualized environment as well. But that is the first point of entry for the mobile devices. So when you're looking at whether it be iPhones, Android, Windows mobile devices, they're going to connect over 443 to that management server. Once that management server goes in and does the necessary security checks through that compliance proxy, then the traffic would be negotiated back over to your mail server, whether that be a 2003, 7, or 10 Exchange environment, as well as your Lotus or Gmail, or any ActiveSync type connection. Inside the internal network, there is a second server that resides, and that's the hub server. That really goes in and manages responsibility back to your DMZ, access to a SQL database server, and gives you the ability to be able to go in and do full management. So if you look at the benefits of not only allowing these devices to connect from a security aspect, making sure that password criteria are met, certain restrictions are going to be met, applications are going to be recommended to those users. You also have the benefit of knowing that all the communication is across SSL from the device all the way into your internal network. Like I said, there's no need for really dedicated hardware. They're all supported inside a virtual environment. And also, if you're allowing these devices to connect to email, that your email URL doesn't have to be published to the internet. Now I'm going to just show you very quickly over the next couple of minutes what it looks like from a management server side. It's a very simple process. This is a snapshot of our ePolicy orchestrator that gives you the ability to see the devices that are connected. So if I needed to see how many Android devices were available, have that flexibility. If for any reason a device had pending actions, what those pending actions were, I can always pull up an audit log of what's happening on my server. The last row gives you a couple of very important reports that are available, and all of these are customizable and fit to your needs. But you can actually see a list of all the installed applications. This is a cumulative list of every application across your entire environment. So if you wanted to go in and see how many people had Twitter, you could actually drill down to the Twitter. It'll tell you what devices had the Twitter, what versions of Twitter were available. So not only do you have the ability to see the devices, but also the versions that have been installed. The other thing beyond that is that you can go in and customize all of these platforms. And then finally, it comes down into management. Management for us is a very simple process. This is where you can sign on to the ePolicy orchestrator, launch the mobility management solution, being able to launch the console. Oftentimes this is done through a single sign-on capability, so you're not having to re-enter your credentials again. But what would happen at this point is you would log into that management server that we just looked at on the previous slide, and going in from that, having the ability to see all the devices that are available. So real quickly, this is the same information that was pulled back into the previous screen. You can see the Android, so if for some reason you need to uninstall the application or wipe that application, you could see it's not only going to tell you the application existed, but also the device state was uninstall complete. You can see what's happened on the devices themselves. You can actually pull down on the devices and see applications that exist on a per device level. You can see this particular device has many applications. You can see the certificate that we talked about that have been placed on the device. If for any reason they have pending actions, see that. And then here at the bottom, making sure that you have full management over wiping the device, removing anything if it's lost or stolen, deleting email and PIM data, maybe locking or resetting a password, or like we talked about, if for some reason a device falls out of compliance, having that ability to see that. And then making sure, finally, that you can go in and have the compliance components based on the policy set, making sure that email can be configured via ActiveSync, defining policies via corporate-owned devices or personal, and that's a very important part of the product itself, is being able to denote that, and then setting password criteria, restrictions that you want to place on the device, VPN, Wi-Fi information, payload information that we talked about, and then the final information before I end my presentation today is really being able to make applications available. This is when you're using the EMM server as a management platform, a hosting of applications. You can see we have the virus scan for mobile. We actually have the McAfee Secure and our Wave Secure products that we've already come in and added, so you can go in and place those particular products into your management server and then assign them to either individual groups or users inside your organization. So really, when we talk about going in and creating the management platform, you can see that not only do we look at the security aspect, but we look at the whole device as well. So Matt, I'm going to pass back over presenter rights to you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Melissa. And that does bring us to the Q&A portion of today's presentation. Again, we thank everyone who has already submitted questions through the question box on the lower right-hand side of the menu toolbar. With that, we'll just go ahead and get started with the first questions that have come across. And the first one I have for you, I believe this one's for you, Trevor, is what are the warranties on the tablets?
So each of the tablets has up to a 3-year warranty. So typical warranties that you can get with laptops for up to 3 years.
Excellent. And the next question I have is, what management system do you use and recommend to manage iPad devices?
Well, I think as Melissa was just showing, that was we utilize McAfee EMM to manage Android, iOS, and also even BES devices, or BlackBerry devices.
Excellent. And I guess a follow-up question to that would be, can all devices be managed centrally?
Yeah, through that integration with EPO and EMM, you have the ability to manage all the devices from one single console.
Excellent. And the next question that we have for you is, the Panasonic was just announced. When will it start shipping?
So they have product available today for testing and small deployments, and then as they do the official release and product availability, it'll be over the next quarter. So looking at end of Q1 for large-scale delivery.
Okay. And we do have another question that has come across, and that is, how does the McAfee MDM solution set itself apart from AirWatch?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that we do a little different than AirWatch. Is one, of course, we have our central management console that not only manages the devices themselves from the mobile solution, but we also go in and look at your endpoint devices as well. That's going to be one of the main differences is going to be from the management solution. The other thing is going in and being able to provide the security aspect from virus protection, not only looking at it from virus protection, but moving beyond with the McAfee product line where we can go in and provide data loss protection as well. And so being able to not only look at it from just a simple management solution, but being able to integrate it into a full security platform.
Excellent. Thank you, Melissa. And as we're waiting for more questions to come across from the audience, Trevor, do you have any, wrap-up statements for the presentation today?
Well, we really appreciate everyone's time. Look forward to the opportunity to discuss with you any of the topics or especially your environments and what you're looking to do with tablets. It's a pretty exciting time for this mobile devices and integrating those into our business. So we look forward to speaking with you. There's contact information on the screen. Feel free to reach out to me directly or reach out to Brite in general, and we look forward to having the opportunity to discuss with you.
I would like to go ahead and thank you, Trevor and Melissa, for another wonderful presentation. That does conclude today's event. As you exit the webinar, please be sure to fill out a brief survey and give us your feedback. Again, I would like to thank you all for attending, and have a great day.